Hi, I'm Michael Hall, live here at KubeCon with Dave Neary. Dave, tell us who you are, who you work for, and what you do.
Well, as you said, I'm Dave Neary. I'm the Director of Developer Relations for Ampere Computing, and that's kind of what I do.
All right, so this is kind of a basic question, but very pertinent to you. What is your relationship with ARM?
So Ampere Computing is an ARM licensee. We design microprocessor CPUs specifically for cloud-native workloads. So we basically focus on two things. One is low power, and the second is very high core counts. So our products go up to 192 cores per socket right now. The Ultra generation, which is in most of the CSPs here, go up to 128 cores per socket. So we're talking about very high core count, and they're all obviously ARM cores.
Awesome. And so what's your relationship with the CNCF and the project and the community?
Well, first, we're a member. Second, obviously, Kubernetes is increasingly important in the cloud native ecosystem. When we're talking about microservices, we're typically talking about containers and Kubernetes. Every single CSP customer of ours has a hosted Kubernetes service. So Oracle has OKE, Azure has AKS, and Google Cloud has GKE. Those are the big three North American ones. And obviously, we're also partnering with a lot of the Kubernetes vendors. So Red Hat, in the near future, Rancher, and other Kubernetes vendors. So we want to make sure that anybody who's developing container applications can develop and deploy them on our platform.
So cloud native on ARM is on Ampere, pretty much.
Absolutely,
right? Awesome.
Absolutely.
And so, last question. Maybe a long answer from you, because I know we're at the end of KubeCon day one right now.
Yeah.
What's been your most exciting thing so far?
Well, there has been a bunch of stuff, but let me start with, we launched an initiative a couple of weeks ago where we've basically co-funded with CNCF a pilot project to get some CNCF projects using Actuated for GitHub Actions builds. So there's a lot of CNCF projects using GitHub Actions, a lot of CNCF projects on GitHub, and doing bare metal builds on ARM is problematic. Now, you can use a self-hosted runner on a virtual machine running in a CSP, but there are a few reasons why you don't want to do that with a public project. Namely, somebody can fork your project and run unauthorized code on your runner. So we've partnered with Actuated, which is a product that does hosted GitHub runners, but it does it on bare metal instances. So we've been using Equinix bare metal instances that Equinix have been sponsoring for the CNCF. And we're basically allowing a number of projects to do all of their CI builds super fast. That's the one thing that's super exciting about it. Super fast on ARM nodes, and running basically in VMs on bare metal in Equinix.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So where can people find out more about Ampere Computing?
Well, that's the first place is amperecomputing.com, of course, and we have a developer site there, developer.amperecomputing.com, and we have a community site focused on ARM64 specifically for the cloud, which is community.amperecomputing.com. There are a couple of other things that I've found exciting.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So the first is, I think on the keynotes today, there was a very, very high amount of interest and attention on sustainability. So we've seen, particularly with the growth of AI and the growth of the cloud, we're seeing the demand for compute in the cloud is multiplying, right? We're anticipating like 10x demand for compute by 2030, and that's going to bring the power consumption. If we don't do something, it's going to bring the power consumption of the cloud and data centers from about 33%, 3.5% worldwide, all the way up to 10%. So I think the focus on sustainability is very interesting to me, because one of the things, as you know, that ARM brings to the table, in addition to very high core count, is very high power efficiency.
Right.
So if you look at the general industry of the data centers, I think one of the only ways that you can get to sustainability for the cloud with the growth of AI is first to do as much inference as possible in general purpose CPUs instead of on GPUs, and second, to make sure that we're using very high core density, very low power consumption CPUs. And I think right now Ampere is, kind of the leader in that area.
Yeah. Very low heat production too.
Well, that's important, because a lot of these data centers were built 10 years ago, and the CPU power envelope from 10 years ago is not the same as the CPU power envelope of CPUs that are being created today. So those data centers are not physically designed for the amount of heat that's being liberated by the CPUs that are being deployed today. So they need new cooling. But you don't need that if you move to an ARM64 based solution with Ampere instead.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave, for joining us.
Thank you very much.